Hey there, in this video we're going to go over organization settings in your Beacon account. So this video is primarily for admin users and operation users who will be controlling the organization settings for their account. So first navigate to the settings, then the organization tab. In here we'll scroll down a little bit to the custom settings section. So this section that we're going through are kind of blanket level settings that will pertain to all of your users. So they are settings and permissions, but they will pertain to all of the users in your account. So we'll just walk down the line and discuss each one. So the first one, weekly PO reminder. This will send an email to your users weekly, letting them know what cases they still have outstanding that need purchase orders. So oftentimes cases can kind of get stuck in that stage because the facility hasn't provided the PO number yet. Maybe they are dragging their feet. This is just reminding your users that you still need those PO numbers, and so that your cases don't get stuck in the billing pipeline. This next setting here allows your users to initiate transfers from the field. So if this is turned off, then reps and distributors will not be allowed to initiate transfers to the org or to other users. But most often we like to see this turned on because that allows users to initiate inventory movement. This gives you that level of control. Next, you're controlling here whether users automatically receive transfer email notifications. So, if that's something that you think it's going to be a burden to your users, you can turn it off. But it's good information, and if you turn it on, then they'll know via email when they have a transfer coming in, and they can accept it to make sure it's available for their case. The next setting allows your users to reopen events. So if they made a mistake or something changed, this allows them to reopen the case, make the change, and then close the case again. Turning this off would put the onus on you as your operations team to handle those changes on behalf of the users. So you would need to get in touch with them if there was a change or a mistake and deal with it that way. Next, this is allowing your users to do inventory adjustments. This next setting allows your users to do inventory adjustments by creating new inventory or manually deactivating inventory. The reason this is a touchy subject is adding inventory affects your total cost of goods. It also affects potentially your inventory accuracy. So you just really want to be sure before you give that power to all of your users that you're controlling, how inventory is getting created and that you're making sure your inventory is still accurate. And deactivating inventory manually is also somewhat touchy because it doesn't leave as firm of a record behind as an event does when inventory is deactivated. This enables users to use that deactivate inventory button. And the next setting requires your users to confirm that they have followed your decontamination procedures before they transfer inventory back. This also allows you to put in a link to those decontamination procedures. So this is just another way of reinforcing your internal policies regarding decontamination. This next setting requires users to associate requests with events. So this would mean that reps are pretty much only requesting inventory if there's a case coming up that they need inventory for, or if they are replenishing to a case that's already happened. So they would need to schedule a case and associate it with the request in order to complete the request. I would think you would turn this on if your users send just too many inventory requests and you aren't sure which ones are real. Maybe you want to make sure that they're backed up by an existing kind of sales situation. So that's what that one's about. This next setting requires users to put in notes when they record a status of in and out or damaged and waste for an item in a case. So these are kind of exceptional situations, where inventory was removed or damaged. So it requires additional context. And so this would require the users to provide that. The next setting, auto triggers the sales order email after the case has been submitted for billing. So pretty useful if you want to make sure that your users have a chance to impact what is written in the email. So maybe they want to change who it's being sent to, they want to change who's being copied or what's in the email body, then you might not want to turn this on. This would automatically trigger it to send to the facility contact when the case is submitted for billing. And then the next setting is very similar, except it does that with the invoice on receipt of the PO number. So it would automatically send that invoice email off. But if you want to make sure that someone interacts with it manually, then I would turn this off. The next section allows you to limit the procedure list that your users see when they select a physician. This would mean that you would need to set up physician assignments in the physician record. So in the physician record, you are allowed to assign procedures that physicians do, and this would narrow down that list as your users are creating their cases and selecting their physicians. The next setting would make it so that anytime you transfer inventory and give it a loan status, the due back date would automatically be set to X number of days after the event that the inventory is associated with. The next setting allows users to create cases without assigning a physician. This is meant to be used in the instance where the physician is not known yet. It has not been assigned to the case maybe, because as you can see here in the subtext, the physician will be required to be added before submitting the case for billing. So they still would need to add a physician, but they won't need to do it up front. And then the last setting that we have here is for discrepant custody. You would use this if you are using our inventory audit auto reconciliation feature. That feature transfers inventory in excess to a discrepant custodian and then attempts to fill gaps by pulling inventory from that discrepant custodian. So if this setting is used, you would create a discrepant custodian and enter it here. And then that would enable you to do the inventory audit auto reconciliations, which we cover in another video. So I encourage you to go check that out. And thank you for tuning into our video on our organizational settings.